Hi, good afternoon. Valerie Milano here, senior editor of the Hollywood Times and Aspiring Magazine. And I'm so happy to have our filmmaker here with us today. I'm going to have him introduce himself. Thank you so much.
I'm Nate Hilgartner, writer and director of No Choice.
Yes. And we're going to be talking about his film that's going to be here at Dances with Films. Nate, first of all, Hannah Deal, she gives such a magnetic and emotionally layered performance. What drew you to her for the role?
Hannah is just absolutely extraordinary. I totally agree. I wrote this film, um, uh, and knew that this role would be absolutely crucial to cast. That if we couldn't cast someone perfect for the role, we wouldn't be able to make the movie. So my dear friend Maria Prudente, who's an actor and also a journalist, I wrote the role of Dr. McCannis for her, and I also asked her to help me cast the film because she had worked as an actor for so many years. And we went into the casting session knowing if we couldn't find someone who could play Amy, we wouldn't be able to make this film. And Hannah came in and absolutely blew us away. She completely floored us. We felt like uh, she brought a depth and an intelligence to the role, just even in the room when we were reading, and I think you'll see if you see the film, and I encourage people to come see the film at Dances with Films on Monday, June 23rd. You'll see the sort of subdued depths inside of her. She has this quality that suggests there's so much emotion roiling under the surface, and that this girl is just trying to contain it all. And then there are moments when it escapes, and when it escapes, it's extremely powerful. Um, we were really gratified that Hannah worked with us, and on set, like I would say to her, you're like an athlete of emotion. I would say she's like Simone Biles. She does these scenes that are like emotionally, it's like a double handspring and a backflip and another half twist, and then she'd just do it again. But it's because she brings this heart and this depth of herself that she shares, and I'm just honored that she shared all of that with us in creating that character.
Yeah, she brings both vulnerability and strength to the screen. And you managed to shape her character, her character's emotional journey so well.
Thank
Wow.
you.
Dr. Mechanics, I don't know about her. I'm very upset with her, but
Well,
I'm not
yeah,
going to give anything away.
we don't want to give anything away, but I will just say for your listeners, this film is we created something that is very relevant. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Yeah. Uh, I hope
I
that.
said it would be
Why don't I
edited,
start
so it's
again
all
since you are
good.
going to edit this, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, um, This film follows a young woman in rural America who's living in poverty. She is supporting her mother, who's addicted to pills. She's trying to put herself through school. She's working a dead-end job at a convenience store. Um, and when she becomes pregnant after she has sex with this guy and the condom breaks, something that happens in real life, she suddenly finds she's in a nightmare situation because she's living in a state where abortion has been banned. Um, and meanwhile, she starts having these dreams, these intense, prophetic, surreal nightmares that are telling her not only is this pregnancy maybe going to ruin her life, she's probably going to die, if she can't get the care that she needs. Um, so we this is the kind of story that obviously it's not anywhere close to my experience. I'm a man. This problem is never going to happen to me per se. But when Roe versus Wade was overturned by the Supreme Court in 2022, I was sort of shocked by the feeling that rights were being rolled back by the then and current administration, and that scared me, and it took me into an imaginative place of thinking about what is that person's life like. Um, but of course, I could imagine this character. I couldn't bring life to Amy until Hannah came along, and Hannah brought life to Amy. Hannah made Amy what she was.
Fantastic.
But
Fantastic. Um, the title No Choice is powerful and provocative. What does it mean to you in the context of the film's story and characters?
that's a great question. Without giving too much away, um, you know. Amy is put in a position where she doesn't have choice over her body. Uh, the law has criminalized her healthcare decisions, her reproductive health decisions. Um, the phrase pro-choice as opposed to pro-life is part of our political discourse, and obviously that is the upfront meaning of no choice. But in a larger sense, the film is about a community that is just everybody in this community is losing their autonomy in one way or another. Whether it's Amy and her mother living in poverty, her mother, played by Jennifer Herzog, living with addiction, even her boss, Randy, played by Adam Radcliffe, who's struggling to keep his small business afloat, or her friend Lucas, played by Robert Denzel Edwards, who's, a queer person of color living in this community that is, just a sort of small and possibly not entirely welcoming place, Even Seth, the guy who gets her pregnant, played by Hayden Frank, is trying to live a free life where he doesn't have to have a boss and where he can, just work as a contractor. Um, and naturally, I won't get too much into this, but Dr. McCannis, working in the medical system, she's sworn to help patients, and do no harm. And yet she's facing possibly criminal charges if she gives care to her patient. And this is not fiction. This is a real thing that's happening in this country. There are doctors who are afraid to give reproductive care to their patients because of these laws. So we're living in a world where choices are being restricted, and that's what the film is trying to address.
It takes place in a place that you really don't talk about, right? Where
We
is the
don't
state?
Yeah, we don't specify what state it is. We wanted it to kind of take place in its own version of current America, its own world. You'll see we created our own brands for the logos of products in the convenience store, including Gunther beer, which is named after one of our actors, namely my cat.
Oh
Who's
my God, really?
yeah, yeah. The beer has a little silver lion on it, and
Cute.
and that's a character in the film also is the cat. But it's somewhere probably in Appalachia. It could be somewhere else in the South. We tried to give it a sense of place, both through the accents. Our wonderful dialect coach Holly Adams helped especially Hannah and Hayden with their dialects. But we shot it in upstate New York. We shot it in my hometown, Ithaca, New York, which is a beautiful place. And I grew up driving on those roads, so every one of those exterior shots, had I knew the spot exactly and went and said, yeah, that barn or that bridge or that power station. So I think that it stands in for a general America in a way.
So we talked a little bit about the dreams. Oh my goodness, scary. But what inspired you to write and direct No Choice? Was there a personal connection or a real world issue that sparked the idea?
So, like I said, this issue of women's reproductive choice, and reproductive freedom, is something that is not close to my experience, but it matters a lot to me. It matters a lot the things that are happening in this country due to the encroachments of this administration. I mean, I can't not say something about the fact that right now in Los Angeles, where this film is about to premiere, uh, you know, uh, the government is pulling people off the streets. Our fellow citizens are protesting, exercising their right to protest, and they're being threatened with military force. This is a crazy time we're living in, and it's um, a frightening moment. And the rollback of basic bodily autonomy rights for women, you could say that it's only going to affect underprivileged women in certain states like Amy, but I think as men and as citizens, more of us should be outraged about this. So yes, that inspired it. Um, and then the dreams, I feel that dreams are a place where we discover truth, a place where we kind of transcend our individual humanity and tap into a common spring. So the idea, okay, she's living in a nightmare, but then what are her dreams telling her? And that was a place where I felt we could explore some interesting imagery. And I have to give a shout out to our cinematographer, our director of photography, Alex Podolyanchuk, who made every shot in this film spectacularly more beautiful than I even could have imagined. His creativity and dedication, also in mentoring the whole crew, because he's the one of us who actually went to film school. So he knew, he knew all this stuff that he shared, and we had a team that was learning on the job. Some of them, Ithaca has a great film school, Ithaca College, and so a lot of students were helping us out. Our camera assistant learned to pull focus the day before we started shooting, and yet it looks great, doesn't it?
No doubt about it. Oh my goodness. And so many scenes, just beautiful. My goodness. Were there any scenes that were particularly difficult to shoot emotionally or logistically because of the story's intensity?
There's one very, very emotional scene between Amy and her mother, and I have to just thank Hannah and Jennifer again for for everything that they gave of themselves to that scene. We were at a point in the shoot where they had lived with their characters for a long time, and they asked me to just let them go into the set and kind of work on the scene on their own. And I said, "Go, take it. You've got it memorized. You know what to do, and then I'll come in and give an adjustment if needed." But I basically didn't have to do anything. I had written it, but they made it. They took it to life in a way that I am just still humbled by. Um, and then, they were exhausted, emotionally exhausted. They gave a lot of themselves, like I said. So we had a dog on set for them to play with and get a little bit um, cheered up, as my parents' dog, Luli. And she was a valuable member of the cast and crew. And we credit her in the final credits at Jennifer's suggestion.
Yeah, I did see that.
Thank you.
So, what does it mean to have No Choice selected for Dances with Films, especially as a platform for bold, independent storytelling, Dances with Films? What does it mean to you?
It is such a joy and such a privilege. And the fact that we get to premiere in the Chinese theater of all places, which when I lived in LA, I lived just a few blocks away from. Um, what a humbling and extraordinary experience, I mean, The Wizard of Oz, Star Wars, Titanic, the list goes on and on of films that changed the world that premiered there. I'm so happy also to see that the rest of the lineup of the festival is so great. There are so many other films that look like I'm totally excited to see them. So it's going to be really a wonderful week.
Do you have any advice that you would give up and coming filmmakers looking to tell daring character focused stories like No Choice?
Write and write and write and write until you've written something that you can get other people on board with. And then once you've written it, you tell everybody in your life, I'm making this movie. Because once you say you're making it, suddenly it becomes a real thing. It suddenly takes on mass, and mass attracts mass, So this core that you have will suddenly bring talent and interest and drive and passion, and all of the people out there who want to be part of something. They'll all suddenly magnetically gravitate toward your project. And everybody in your life is going to hold you to it. They say, "Hey, what's happening with that movie you're making?" So make sure you have a good story. Make sure you've written something that's real and that's from the heart and that's true. And once you have, it will attract those other people that you need to make it. And it will become way bigger than the sum of its parts and way bigger than you could ever have imagined.
Well, Nate, I am going to be writing, and we're going to get you a full crowd there on June 23rd at the Chinese Theater. I'm so excited about your film. What's next for you as a filmmaker? And are you planning on working with Hannah Deal again in the future? I hope so.
I hope so too. Hannah was so great to work with, and like I said, her heart and her intelligence and her passion and her dedication are a rare thing in this world. She's a star, an up and coming star, and I look forward to working together again or seeing what she does next. I am already working on another script. I can't say very much about it. It is about artists working and trying to survive under a totalitarian regime. Uh, it's about how art could maybe save us or at least carry us through. So I'll have more to say about that later, but thank you for asking.
I look forward to meeting you in person. We're the Hollywood Times today, and our YouTube channel is the Hollywood Times Official. And have a great rest of your afternoon there in New York, and we'll see you in LA.
Thank you,
Thank you
Valerie.
so much for all your time and your wonderful film.
Thank you.
Okay, bye bye.